This is weird. Greetings, friends. I disappeared for a little bit, in case you didn't notice. And I'm reappearing here for a video of me talking. And it's not just some, I'm back, guys. I'm returning to YouTube. No, though that might be happening too, but that's not what this is about. But I had to return to this channel because I put so much of my time and passion and energy into it over the past 8 years, I guess. So I figured I have to say something, and it came to me what it was. I'll try not to make this too long, but some pretty cool things happened, and just a beautiful emergence within my soul, I guess. So stick around, not for the watch time, not for the views. I really don't care about any of that. If one of you watches this through and gets something out of it, that my goal will be fulfilled. So I came back here to make this video because I wanted to do something for the channel, but I knew it had to be something. I didn't want to just pop up and like, here's a random video idea I had. Because the reason why I stopped posting and stuff and streaming and all that is from deep psychological issues that have since been not fully resolved, but mostly resolved. So I'm going to detail a story arc, sort of redemption, overcoming mental adversity, stuff like that. The dark night of the soul, I guess. I actually tried making a video like this before, months ago. I think I actually tried to make it twice. I don't remember exactly, but I never posted it because it came out like garbage because I wasn't ready, but I didn't know that at the time. And I couldn't figure out why it wasn't clicking and why I had no desire to return to YouTube or social media or whatever. Now I understand. It was because I had nothing to give. I don't want to say I was empty inside, but closer to that than full. And I didn't have anything to give. I was searching for, like, for example, several months ago when I tried to make a video like this, I was searching for stimuli to rev my happiness and joy back, give me something to look forward to, get me out of this depression funk I was in. But it wasn't clicking because I hadn't done any work yet on myself. I was still just reaching for things outside. And this is the type of thing that you hear all the time. So, it's not like some new revelation I have to share with you, but it is the first time that I've went through this process in my entire life somehow. So I figured someone can get something out of this. So yeah, what I should have been doing at the time was looking within, not from outside the world, but within, and figure out what was wrong with me. I kept wanting somebody to come and smack me across the face and say, do the things you're supposed to do. You're good at these things, do them. You have all this stuff to do them. You got all the instruments, you got all the technology. And that person never showed up, I guess. I don't know. I don't speak to a lot of people on a regular basis, which is another problem. But it did help me to have the most sustaining comeback from my own soul, because I did it on my own. You know what I mean? And even up until like the last couple things I did here on YouTube, I think, I posted some songs I was writing. But even right before that, when I was just still kind of streaming off and on, and months before that I took a break, I was already drained. I was super depressed. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was just going through the motions so that I could not feel more depressed. But I had to get out of it. Let me back up to the time, the last time I took the break, and then I never came back. And the reason, the catalyst for that break was a Hurricane Milton. I forgot the damn thing's name, but not that we should need to remember it. It hit my area here in Florida, and it did some heavy damage. We got lucky here, but it really the beaches were messed up for months. Anyway. The power went out and the internet went out for like a week, so I was forced to be without any technology, let alone be able to stream or whatever. So I was like, all right, now it's the perfect time to just take a break and not think about that, not worry about it. And then it was kind of a relief. I was like, was kind of getting sick of that. But I wasn't like sick of it because of what I was doing. It was just I was empty. I was not being fulfilled. I was running on fumes. I had nothing to give. I was trying to give people things, and I had nothing left to like share, I guess. Which is also why I haven't like gone on any social media really. I mean, I go on YouTube like every day pretty much for entertainment purposes. I don't really see this as a social media platform per se, although it kind of is. But like Instagram and TikTok, I never really went on consistently. Instagram, I would go on every once in a while because I would post things. I really hate Instagram. I used to like it. Too many people on it now, and I could completely live without it and never be tempted to go back to it ever again. It does absolutely nothing for me. I like connecting with friends. I like seeing what my friends are doing from a distance that I don't get to see often, but I'd rather like find out from them what they're, I don't want this filtered bullshit. Sorry, I mean, yeah, I know a lot of people enjoy posting on Instagram and stuff. I don't mean to shit on like the act of using it or being a Instagram person, influencer maybe, or just a consumer of it. I get it fundamentally, but it doesn't jive with my spirit. It's extreme anxiety. Once I just see all the people, all the names, all the thoughts and the feeling, it's like, oh, I can't, I'm not, my brain, I don't think anyone's brain is meant for that, but that amount of exposure to society in such a condensed, instant form. But I'm super sensitive to it, so it's just like, I'm an introverted person. I almost prefer to accidentally walk into a room full of like 50 people that I've never seen before, and then they all stop talking and stare at me, then go on Instagram. Like, it's that kind of, it's like, oh God, it's too much. It's just too much. And especially for this type of self-work that I've been doing, it fucks you up. You get a distorted image of what other people are doing, and then you think you're supposed to be doing that, and it's just, and then just in general, like even if you're just looking at memes or scrolling on reels just to be entertained, all of that fast, rapid fire, next thing, you're escaping, and I get that. I've been escaping too all the time. It's just, that's not my preferred method of escape. It's just too. I'd rather escape on one thing for a long time, so at least I can learn and like get a grasp of something instead of just next. This person's thoughts. I have to think for myself, and that's just too much. Anyway, that was a long tangent on Instagram, whatever. But yeah, I haven't been on there in months, and I guess I'd go back to it to post. The only time you see me on Instagram is if I have something to share. That's what it comes down to. If I don't have anything to contribute, I have no interest in being on there. Anyway, yeah, if I plan on promoting content again, I'll probably have to utilize Instagram in some form or another. I could say a lot more about that, but I'm going to stop now and keep going with my message and my story. So back to the depression thing, which is what this is supposed to be about, not social media. If you didn't know, if you haven't been following this channel for longer than when I started the music reaction live streams, I used to work in New York City. I had a good, solid corporate job, and I lived there for like 5 or 6 years, and maybe 7. I don't fully remember. But long story short, the reason why I'm back here in Florida now, I came back in 2022, I believe, is when I feel like I always get these years confused. Those COVID years were anyway. But that is the reason why I moved back to Florida. A little more complicated than I care to describe here, especially since this is going to already be a long video. But COVID basically, let's just say, it ruined New York City. What they ended up doing, I ended up being laid off from my job, and not because I wasn't like wiling out about it, but it's something that had to happen, unfortunately. And then my lease was up like in 3 months after that happened, and then I moved back here with my parents at the age of I was 29 then, I think, or 28 when I moved back. I can't keep track of all these years. So that just sets the stage for the building depression that would lead up until like the last year and stuff. Not just up to this point in this year, but all of last year as well, and pretty much the year before. I had to blow through all my money like an idiot, and then I could not find a job. I thought, I had work experience. I had 4 years of work experience, college, master's degree, research experience, published in 2 journals of scientific literature, not like crazy big famous ones, but like legit ones, peer-reviewed studies. Okay, so I did like real stuff. And I got paid for it for a while, and then I just could not find a job for the life of me when I got down here. So that's when I started, like, I was like, let me go back to the YouTube thing, because I had always kind of done that on the side with video games and music. And that's when I did the live streams. And those were a fun time, and that lasted for a couple of years, but eventually I was never really happy, and it kept snowballing up until the moment I kind of described when I took that break because of the hurricane last year, and then just never came back to it because I lost the joy in it, because I felt like I had nothing to share. Whether I go back to doing that, I'm not entirely sure, but I'll mention that. Maybe I'll talk about that later. So it wasn't like all of a sudden I got depressed and I stopped YouTube. It was a building thing, and then it was caught up to me, and when I broke away, I just let it all slip away and sunk into the darkness, and it was really dark. It was really dark. I'm glad to be on the other side of it now, and like I said, I'm not like happy all the time. Nobody's happy all the time, like all of a sudden, but I still have lows, of course. But that period of time between the time period I've already described was very, very dark and sad and lonely, and I stopped taking care of myself in a lot of ways, not completely. Like, I still took showers. I wasn't like not getting out of bed. It wasn't that bad, thankfully, but I was doing the bare minimum, hoping a job would come through so I could like just make money again and not have to be so sad again, looking for things to fill me up when I should have been looking for ways to fill myself up so I can give back to those around me, whether it is through work and compensation or socializing. It's another big thing during that period of time. I reached a point where I was like, I did not want to talk to anyone. I didn't want to see anyone. I could barely communicate with my own family. There was like a connection lost between me and the outside world. And I've always been pretty buried in my own autistic mind, or whatever it is. I'm not formally diagnosed, but it's Asperger's or whatever. But I lost touch with the outside world in a way where it was like, I didn't know how to explain myself to people. People would try to call me and text me, and closer friends that I would be as honest as I could. I'd say, I don't want to leave the house. I can't do anything. But even like answering that message was tough to do. Like, I just didn't want to interact with anybody. And that's you need that connection, but I could not, I wanted the connection deep down, but I could not manifest, it wasn't working. So I just gave up. I was like, I can't talk to you. So a lot of people thought I hated them. A lot of people tend to, in general, if I'm not super close to them, because it's just tough for me to, in general, to communicate with people always. But during this period, it was particularly rough. So it was it was a sadness, a depression that I've never experienced before. And I've been through the ringer with some substance abuse, crash and burns and lows and all that. So I know where the depths of the mind can go. But it wasn't dark like in that kind of way. It was just, I didn't understand it. And I tried to do the things that I normally do to get me out of it, and nothing was working. And so you're like, all right, well, that's depression, right? And I don't want to get too philosophical and try to define depression, but I will temporarily right now in a succinct way, hopefully. To me, I'm sure it's different. Could be different for everybody else. Could be different from person to person. And of course, there's some chemical ties. Something's going on in your brain. But I believe it's always a symptom of something that's just not right with your soul or your life, however you want to frame it. And it may be an unconscious thing, which in this case it was for me. So I didn't know how to get out of it myself. So I was just labeled it with, okay, I'm depressed. I took antidepressants in the past, did not go well with the side effects of those. Super sensitive to those, did barely help me. So for me, I believe that it was a symptom of being stuck in a state of being that I wasn't meant to be. I was not meant to be sitting around getting the bare minimum done to survive, and I couldn't figure out a way to get out of it. No person could have pulled me out of it. I hung out with people during these times. The only way that I was happy was when I had to drink. I literally had to drink to be happy. I've always kind of drank socially to make it easier to communicate with people. It works super well for that. But it also works to just kind of shut you up in the head and be like, just have a good time. So those times I enjoyed, but I had to figure out what to do. And so all that built up into a moment where, I mean, there was a very awesome coincidence. I don't really believe in coincidences anymore, but there was an awesome moment, alignment that happened a couple months ago in February. But at first it was a gradual practice. I don't remember like the moment or the day that I decided to start taking care of myself, but little by little, the anxiety coupled now with this depression was so severe that I like, my mind was like, you need to do something yourself. You need to start trying literally anything. That's like the mindset I was in. So I was like, okay, I gotta be healthier, right? I went to a doctor for the first time in years. Got blood work, started taking supplements to get vitamins back because I was deficient in a lot of things. So there's all these, and that's just one piece of the puzzle. There's all these pieces of the puzzle. And for so much of my life, I thought, I've always just was like, get that thing and then I'm happy. No, it's a holistic approach that I finally realized I knew that's how life worked and the human body worked, but you know, sometimes it's hard to see that from your own perspective, or to like force it to get with it, so to speak. Get with the program. I wasn't with the program. I was in a different program. It was pretty wild. But so I started taking vitamins, going to the doctor. I went to the dentist for the first time in years. Luckily, my mouth wasn't riddled with cavities. I was convinced that it was, but somehow it wasn't, and I still got them all. It's a little stained, but you know, whatever. I started drinking water. I started making a habit. Electrolyte water, liquid IV, once a day at least, to make sure I'm hydrated, which is something I never did. I was never a drink water person. I'm one of those people where it's like, it's boring, and I'm not thirsty. Then you're probably dehydrated. Okay. So I started doing that. I started trying to meditate, like mindfulness practices where you just like close your eyes and try to not think and focus on your breath. Still not too great at that, and I don't do that as often as I would like to, but it's an interesting thing. And I started reading self-help books. I was like, whatever I have to fucking do to get out of this, because it's been years. I've been literally wasting so much time that it's like sinful how much time I wasted with all the resources I had that I could have done with, except for money. So I'm putting all these pieces to the puzzle. Still couldn't find a job. I was doing DoorDash. I was doing like bullshit stuff, freelance, whatever. And then something like manifestation magical happened. This is the coolest part of the story. If this didn't happen, I probably wouldn't be making this video, because I would just be like, yeah, I got better. But this was just like so cool that this happened this way. So the other piece of the puzzle that I hadn't gotten to yet was working out. Up until just like a couple months ago, I was like fully a skeleton, and I always wear baggy shirts because I'm just so frail. I still kind of am. I'm not like jacked all of a sudden. I'm not gonna take my shirt off, do some gay shit like that. But muscles are starting to come back, and I'm gaining weight again. Finally. So one day, in a depressed state, doing the other things, and I was like, I have to start working out. I'm going to, like, I pushed myself. I'm like, this is the day. This is the day I'm going to do it. I'm going to go. There's free weights, barbells, and not dumbbells, that's the word, and just lift some weights. Just do a workout. Look up a workout and do it. So I did. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. This feels kind of good. And relieves anxiety and is good for depression and all that. Really, I should have done this first out of all the other things I listed, but you know, sometimes you got to learn the hard way. And so for the first time in like 5 or 6 years, I worked out. And mere hours after that first workout, that evening, I get a call from an employer. I was like, no fucking way. I was always sending out resumes to come to whatever job postings, and finally I had been contacted in the past, but it was always like I had a couple interviews, ghosted from everyone, right? But this, like, I got a call about a job, and it was remote, which was exactly what I wanted, and it paid quite well. The only downside is it wasn't a full-time employee job. It's an independent. I still doing it, by the way, so that's good. but it's an independent contractor role, so it's not, oftentimes there is enough work to like do a full 40 hours a week. Sometimes there's breaks in between, but it was a dream come true almost, because here I am depressed that I can't find a job for 3 years, and then I work out for the first time in all those years, and I immediately get hired. It was so fast, I thought it was a scam. I was like hesitant of it being a scam. I was looking up the phone number that called me. I was like, are they just trying to get my information? And like this is too good to be true. And then it was true. I got paid, and I still am getting paid. So yeah, it's so cliche, and I never really fully believed it, but I did the things that they say to do. Live the life you want to live to deserve what you want, or something like that. You know, the manifestation thing. Like think about it, envision it, and then do the things as if you already have it, and then it will come to you. And that literally happened. So that's pretty cool, I think. And that was back in February. So it's been just about 5 months now. Today's July 1st, and I am in such a better place. Just all of those things combined, but the working really, I felt like I had a purpose. That was the big thing, underlying issue that was causing the depression, I think, was the lack of purpose, and it just didn't seem like people cared. Like I had got that sense that I knew people cared about me, I knew my friends cared, all that. I didn't think they stopped caring about me, but I was just missing that actual purpose. And because I needed money, I had to equate getting money as that being part of that purpose, right? I don't know. I'm wondering if I had won the lottery during that time, maybe I would have been like happy for the first week and then immediately got depressed again until I found a purpose. I don't know. But the point is, someone was paying me really solid hourly wage to do work that I went to school for. So it just felt so, it was just such a relief. And, helping to chip away at the negative money that I've run into over the course of being unemployed. So yeah, that's pretty much the story I wanted to tell. And I'm just in such a better state of mind. Obviously, I feel confident in myself enough to put a camera on and record myself talking for 30 minutes. That's something that like terrified me in that state of depression. So I was like, who the fuck wants to see my loser ass face talk about nonsense? Maybe that might be the perception that some people have of me now, but what's important is I feel good about it, and that's why I'm doing it. And I'm not even drinking. I mean, I'm not drinking altogether, but I mean now, which is a good sign, because I was relying heavily on alcohol to communicate with anybody during that period. And other than that, I've explored some like other passions or like learning things. That was a big thing. The saddest thing about that state of depression and darkness was I lost my passion for learning, which was this. didn't think that would make me emotional, but that was the saddest thing for me. And then like getting back into like learning about stuff that I'm interested in and acquiring the knowledge and the wisdom of life. It's pretty cool. So that's good. But it always comes back to music for me. That was my first passion in life as a child. And I started playing guitar, learning guitar at 10. And I'm making music again. I'm playing my guitar more. I joined a band. 2 bands, kind of, actually, yeah. Not kind of, but one of them still kind of forming around artists that are local to the scene that I've met over the years. And I miss that so much. Playing lead guitar. It doesn't even have to be lead guitar, but that's like my thing, right? In a group of people, and it sounds good, and it's like such a meditative, when it works and it's just flowing. Amazing. Great medicine. So lots of cool, and other very cool things are happening in the background as well. I don't need to go into literally every detail of what I've been doing with my life for the past 8 months that I haven't been on YouTube, but you get the point. I'm coming around to hopefully brighter days. It seems like, although it literally started raining, it wasn't raining when I started making the video, and now it's raining, but metaphorically, the clouds are a lot more parted from the shroud that was over me the past year and a half, 2 years. So hopefully I'll get back to doing more content stuff, I guess. Things that I want to do. I don't know. I'm not going to, for anyone that's still listening, that's misses the music live streams. I probably won't go back to doing that, like, at least in the way that I was doing it. If I do, it'll just be like I'm not interested in hearing people's music. That's always cool, but I wouldn't want to like make it a regular like show thing anymore. That's, yeah. But who knows? Maybe I'll do some live streams for something or other, music related, listening to your music. So I'm still open to that though. But music is definitely what it should be about, mostly for me, because it's just the most natural. Oh, that's what I went on a tangent. It was my first passion, my first love in life, and everything that I learned that I become passionate about, I get interested in a lot of things, sciences and other studies and history or whatever. But music is it just feels the most natural and intuitive to me. It just comes so natural. Not that I'm saying I'm some like virtuoso talented person, but it just feels right. So yeah, thank you for sitting through that. If you're hearing me say these words and hearing me talk, like I said, if anyone got this far and got something from it, then my goal is that I set out to complete is finished. So hopefully that happened. If not, it is what it is, and this video will be uploaded. I haven't been on my FERM YouTube page in as many months as I last uploaded to it. So I don't know if there's like, maybe half the subscribers are gone, probably. I don't know. You'll see underneath, I guess, and I will as I upload this. I don't even know if I have the password. So hopefully I can log into my account. But anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I guess I should say the regular YouTube things. Leave a like if you liked the message, and leave a comment, especially if you relate, if you've gone through something similar, you want to share something like that, or if this helped you, that would make me very, very happy. Peace and love.